Well, last night we got a little bit of rain, which was very nice and needed because it's going to be up in the 90s again today. My cabbage is doing pretty good. So is my cucumbers. As a matter of fact, I see one down there that should have already been picked. If you notice all the lettuce, like here's one, they've bolted. Lettuce will bolt a lot of times if it gets too hot, and we have been in the triple digits off and on for the past 2 weeks. So most of my lettuce is bolted, but it's still usable. One of the things that I'll do when it bolts, because sometimes it'll get a little bit bitter, is that I'll go ahead and harvest it like normal and then soak it in cold water for a little while. That helps draw out those bitter juices some. My tomatoes are still looking a little poorly. This right here is a sign of deficiency in some nutrients. So I'm getting ready to show you one of the things that I do for that. Finally got all the weeds out of the saffron beds. Here's some more to my tomatoes that is not doing that great, but they're getting there. Some more lettuce that's bolted because of the heat. The basil's doing great. I'm going to have to harvest some of that. I'll probably turn it into some pesto. Whenever you harvest your basil, if you clip off the tops, it encourages it to bush out instead of growing straight up and getting top heavy. Getting some baby Amish paste tomatoes. And some of these. Chives are doing great. Now for the tomatoes. In one of my other videos, I showed why you should keep your eggshells, especially if they're farm-raised eggshells, and also how to process the eggshells in order to keep them. So here's some of mine, and I'm going to be just sprinkling it on the ground all the way around the tomatoes and some of the other plants so that that nutrient can start leaching into the ground. Then I'll also come back later and mix some Epsom salts with some water. You don't want a too strong concentration, but about a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons per gallon, and then just pour it on the soil around it, and that really gives the soil magnesium and other nutrients. Don't try this with table salt or any other kind of salt, but the Epsom salt is what I use, and it's also what my great-grandfather used to use as well. And this is what it looks like after I sprinkle the calcium, or eggshells, all over the plants. And I also just went ahead and sprinkled some around the other beds in here too. Because they are eggshells, it will slowly release. It slowly breaks down. So just sprinkling it like I did has never hurt any of my plants. Where if you put certain chemicals and stuff like that on it, it releases a whole lot more quickly and can damage the plants or burn the leaves. The eggshells don't burn the leaves. My key lime is starting to flower. Even though it's a very tiny tree, the honeybees love the flower buds off these citrus plants. I do grow the citrus plants here in Virginia. In order to do that, you really do need to have a greenhouse or hoop house or some way to protect them during the winter. You can bring them inside, but the light levels in the house during the winter is so low that you really need to have grow lights or some special setup in order to do citrus here in Virginia. Orange trees will grow up here, but the season is not long enough to produce oranges. So that's why I like to stick to these small plants, the small citrus trees. That way it's easy for me to move around. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you like these videos. Thank you.